Okay, we are one-handing this, so hopefully any of this shows up. I don't even have mics on. Super sloppy. So you have your clutch lever, you have your cable. These line up, and this little dowel pin rides on this assembly. Then that slides discreetly in the housing, and there's a separate pin right there for the actual pivot point. But the lever itself is literally just this plastic little bushing. And I saw in the comments a couple people were saying, I've used wood, I've used that. I'm not in that big of a rush on this bike. If I really needed to make it work, I could have, but good choices. I mean, it's literally just a pin. So I'm going to try and do this one-handed. I don't even have you guys on a tripod right now. I'm literally holding you guys up. So we will put this here. This is a terrible idea, one-handed. I apologize for the wonderful cinematography that you guys are getting today. Kind of sort of lined up. Let's see if we can line up the pin. One-handed. We're halfway. There we go. There's our clutch lever. So that little plastic bushing, or whatever material that is what rides our clutch cable. Then we'll jam this back on here. And I'm just going to set this kind of in the groove so I know where it needs to be. And then we have a regular steel pin with a little circlip on the bottom. So the steel pin, top hat style, upside down. So picture a top hat upside down. You got a flange on the top and then a groove down here that'll hold that in place. And we are very loosey-goosey, so definitely will need a clutch adjustment. I don't know why I've put that off for so long. It's been like 3 or 4 days and I've had the parts for a week. But quick and easy little update on the clutch cable. I rerouted all of this so it's just coming straight up in front of the exhaust, tucked far enough onto the frame behind the master cylinder, runs up and over, so that's good. Brake should be okay, and now it's the brake light switch that I don't want to pull apart and do any more wiring. So that's where we're at. Might come back out here in a little bit. What do you think, Bailey? Should we finish this today? Bailey? You want to finish? I think she just wants to go back inside. So that might be a little bit. What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Wrenching Wrecked. Trailer's on hiatus because of the rain. Yeah, it's actually not raining now, which would be nice. And we have a bunch of lights hooked up, but I didn't wire them yet. So, got the puppers out here kind of sort of with me now that it's not raining. And the Softail is back in the ground. So, in the last little snippet, I'm going to figure out how to make all of that work. But I got the clutch cable pin installed on the internal. Actually, let's cheat. Here's what we're looking at. You have a plastic pin. That is the fancy bushing that I've been waiting on. I've had it for like a week, but we bought a trailer and I haven't thought about anything out here in the garage. So I got the cable rough routed through here, and now we're gonna rob this brand new clutch housing for the pin to hold the actual lever itself. So on Evos, it's a 2-pin design basically. You have your pivot pin for the lever, this hole right here, and that's for the mirrors, but this hole right here is your clutch lever pivot, and then the pin is an internal little section on the cable itself. So if you're brand new to all of this, your Evo style levers are going to be the ones with the big heavy duty loop attached to the cable. On the early shovelhead stuff, it's a barrel clamp and then it kind of pins through. I don't have another lever here, or I would show you how that works. So Softail is running-ish. It doesn't have enough fuel to stay running, but we have a running Softail. Kind of. It started, it ran, so for me that counts as running. Tanks need to go back on. That should alleviate a lot of those issues, but I don't want to put the tanks on until we do the brake light switch, which we extended all the wires here, and then we tested this out. The brake lever is working. I'm getting pressure on the lever. the tail light is turning on, but it should be a brake light constant. We don't have that working yet. I have, that's the clutch. It was right here a second ago, and then I think I just moved it. We got to rewire in a new brake light switch on the front master. I haven't even looked at the rear. I don't really care that much about the rear. The rear is a pressure switch, and this bike's been sitting so long, I don't know how well this is working or if there's any fluid. So we're going to start with fluid on the bottom when we get around to that. But I think I'm going to finalize that clutch side with the pin and the clip. It's quick and easy. One thing at a time over here. I wish I had more time. This bike was supposed to be done 2 weeks ago, and life happens, work happens, buying a new trailer impulsively happens, and first new thing I've ever had, so we're playing around with that. So let me throw you guys up on the tripod and we'll finalize at least the clutch lever. We're not going to do the adjustment or anything like that yet on the cable. I can tell you right now, this lines up perfect, and we have a ton of play in this clutch lever. That's about where it's going to land, and we're halfway engaged. So we'll have to fix that and clean that up quite a bit, but let's get the pins in. So I'll set you guys down here-ish while we rip some stuff apart and salvage. Well, we're going to take apart brand new parts and gut them for crusty, crappy parts. All right, we have brand new lever, pin, circlip, and actually before I dive fully into this, I'm gonna raid my bin over there because we organized for the swap meet. I got a bunch of levers and controls and things in here, and I think I just put an entire stash of extra parts that are like quick, easy grabbables. I always need bolts, I always need hardware, I always need things like that for levers and controls and stupid little doodads. I also have another master with a brake light switch and the tab. I was looking at this. This still has a ton of play. This is the exact same as the one I have on here. Well, same style, but exact same style as the brake light switch that I'm fighting on the other one. So I think I'm just gonna pull this pin off, and then we might raid this little finger from this for that master. So I'll grab my small set of snap ring pliers. They're set up to open too. It's like a win-win. So I'll drop these in. I'm guessing these are actually probably smaller than the snap ring pliers I have. Which they are. Grab a pick, slide it underneath, slip it around the ring, drop the snap ring there, and now our pin and our clip and all this other stuff's gonna come apart. I might lose some parts here, actually. I need the pin for the clutch. Robbing Peter to pay Paul over here. So here's the pin we need. But now that that's free, separate the lever. Don't care about the snap ring part nearly as much. I just dropped it on the ground anyway. Here's our pin. This is going to drop down. I'm assuming they should be the same on the clutch and the brake side. Could be wrong. I've never done an Evo. Nope, that's perfect. Same pin. So that drops all the way down. You get a little bit of room down at the bottom here. So here's where that pin comes through, and then there's enough room to get a C-clip or an O-ring clip around that, but we at least have somewhat of a clutch. Definitely need to do the cable adjustment on there. And then the reason I'm gutting good parts, this little doodad. This is what I need. I was hoping you guys would comment on that, but there's a lot of play on this, and now that this is out, yes, it's gonna have axial play. This is fixed. I will tell you right now, looking at this brand new part that I have sitting here, the master on there, this little finger dealio is no longer actually connected to the shaft for the push rod for the brake. So this in that housing should work way better. So now we get to find my Allen bits and yank that apart. Separate the master, and we're just going to replace this because 100% I was nervous about it on that one. A little bit of free play is fine because it's a push rod basically. So when you hit the brake lever engages on this side, it pushes it in. This can't be a fixed piece, but this little tab is way ovaled on the bike currently and will not actually engage. So when I hook all of this back up, I'll pull the tab down, make sure it engages on the brake pin. It works for about 5 pumps, but it walks up because this is not holding true. So that's the part we need, and that saves me a ton of time on ordering stuff. So I still need to steal these 2 bolts. I have them both on this side of the master. Where am I missing them? Maybe it's the switch bolts. Those are smaller. We'll figure that out in a little while, but I need this. I'm gonna set this here on top of the bike, close up my snap rings, because we're gonna be nice, fancy, and organized-ish, and lay out some parts that I need to put this thing back together. Close up the box, put this away, and maybe we'll get into the brake stuff. All I wanted was the clutch lever hooked back up today. Running out of time, and I'm way behind on editing and way behind on life because trailer things. It's embarrassing. It's not even fun to brag about. I overpaid for a trailer and now I'm trying to justify it by making videos and doing whatever else I possibly can as bike haulers. So, what do you think, Shovel? You don't like the Evo, do you? Running in. Might be back tonight, might be back tomorrow. Well, it is the next day, so I ended up taking the switches off. I just cut the zip ties off the bars. I'm going to leave them kind of dangling there. It's a little bit cleaner. Hopefully we don't lose that little throttle cable clip. But I got the brake switch apart, and I got the brake master off of the bike. So let's grab a little Phillips here. And try and get the switch out. Get everything freed up, and then we can kind of go from there. I think it's this one. Could be wrong. This should loosen up all the wires. Not exactly sure how these switches lay out, so I'm kind of going into this blind. Just start taking things apart and then see what we need. There's that. Little bracket, tiny screw. No, we don't need that one. We need the one down here. That guy. That just holds the top together. So it's the one way down here. Not the most entertaining here, but I've never done it. So this is definitely not a how-to. Get the little screw out. I'm wondering if I need that other one out just to clear enough room to get the wire out anyway. Looks like it wants to come up. Grab a flathead or something and try and push this pin in. There we go. And there's our problem. Looks like the wire's torn out of here. There's a lot of open exposed copper. Let's see if I got a brake light. Nope. Definitely not working, so. All right, let me grab the other switch, figure out where I'm gonna cut the harness here and put this new one back in. Well, the new switch comes with a good lead of wire. I don't know how much I actually want to put on there. So I think what I'm going to do is try and just get this installed. We should probably do the solder connections first. I might just split it here. This sheathing's not in the greatest of shape. And go from there, maybe. Yeah. Maybe I'll just cut this harness back and we'll retape that. I don't really know the best method here other than cut it and fix it and resolder, reconnect, put it back together. So let me work on that. Guess not ideal. Cut the sheathing back. It's not like it's in great shape, so. Trying to do this carefully without cutting in any wires or cutting myself. Exposed. Ooh, there's a couple pinches in here. So those will need to be addressed. We got a gray wire that's kind of exposed here. Orange one squeezed flat. I wonder. And I'll just snip these here. I'm gonna stagger them. Just like that. So there's our two leads. Grab my wire strippers. I bridged these, the taillight should come back on. We'll figure out exactly what we're doing. Or the brake light should come on, rather. So we got a regular taillight back there. And now we got a brake light. So, obviously the wires are getting power. So that's with them together, apart. So we're good down there. That's promising. And I guess we can just do a quick little jumper here. Let me trim these back and test it before we go to put the new switch in, because that would be upsetting. Go through and do all of this and then realize that it still didn't work. Wouldn't be the first time I've done it. Well, on this exact job, but throw something together without testing it and then realize it's no good anyway. Red to red. Orange to orange. And this is an open switch, so it should be on when I click this key on, and then off when I push the button in. So we got a brake light. No brake light. Brake light. No brake light. So, like I said, open circuit. So this is, when that pin is out, your brake light is on. You push it in, it goes off. Tail light, brake light, tail light, brake light, tail light, brake light. So at least we know it was just a wiring deal. And now I gotta figure out if I want to put the switch in the housing first and then wire it up, or do the wiring first and then jam it all back together. Well, should fit. They look to be about the same. It's a tight squeeze in here. I don't know the best way to get this back in. It's gotta go that way. Do I start it on the hole? There we go. That's in there. Screwdriver. Unguide the pin. Let's see here. That's not nice. Alright, I'm going to turn this off because I'm getting frustrated. We'll be back when I get this in. Okay, so I pushed the pin in and put this down. Let me show you on the other one. Push the pin in like this and installed it with a tab up. That let me get the switch part into the hole. And then if you push the switch back in, you can kind of rotate it back down to where it needs to be. Still working on that part, but we're getting there. Just like that. Now that's lined up and in, so I'm going to throw a screw in there first. While we're at it. And then I'll lay out the wires and things. Magnetic screwdriver would be great right now. That's on the other side. There we go. And then, now that we messed with it, we're going to test that one more time. Because I've had, alright, we got brake light, on, off. Alright, should be good. Now on to the soldering. Kind of upside down here. It's not the ideal scenario. I have limited space, so we're going to kind of make this work. So that's going to repair the gray wire that we had that on here that was broken. And then I got to lay out where the rest of this is going to go. Let me tangle all of this here because that's really safe. But we're good there. Slide this back up and then we'll heat shrink that guy. And then we just got the red and the orange that we got to trim down still. So start with the broken stuff and then go from there. One at a time. I did remove that little clip in here to give me more room to solder these ones up, so I'm going to put those back together too while we lay all of this out. We'll just do all that at the end, I guess, huh? That would make a little more sense. So we'll start with red? Yeah, let's do red. So trace this out. This will run down this pretty much the same line as these. Got a red wire there. Red wire there. Not an expert at soldering, this is just how I do it, so if you got better tips or tricks or suggestions, let me know. It's kind of a pain when it's all on the bike anyway, but And I'm using a very crappy little low heat soldering iron with way too thick of solder. So the odds are not in my favor. Ooh, what did I forget? Anybody catch it? Love to do that. I do it all the time. Heat shrink. So what I do is I cut enough wire so I can have a nice little length there. That's relatively strong. It's goofy when it's on the bike like this. I like doing this on a table preferably, but can't always do that. And I do flux these. Just kind of a preference of mine. At least this thing's finally warm. I put a little on the tip of the thing just because it tends to heat the wires faster. There we go. Oh, Jesus. This is definitely not the right way to do this. I got things just wrapped around the handlebars right now. Oh, boy. Sketch E. Just dangling hot soldering irons. Oh, what is wrong with me? A lot, as a matter of fact. Maybe I won't just dangle all of this stuff here. Maybe I'll send these through. Let this sit over here. I have a stand for this somewhere too, but it doesn't really help when I'm trying to do all of this on the bike. Told you I didn't want to do a video on wiring. And here we are. Use a heat gun, not a lighter for that. Or use a lighter. It's all the same. You might burn them if you run a lighter though. That's why it's not suggested. But we don't care. Probably could have gone a tiny bit shorter there. Marked. Stay tuned because I'm probably going to burn myself at some point doing this. All right. Strip there. Strip there. One more to go. Heat shrink so I don't forget this time. Stay. Give myself a tiny bit more room here. Unfortunately, that red one is a sliver too long, so it's going to have a little bit of a bulge in that wiring harness, but 'tis what it is. I'm not redoing it. Don't care that much. Okay. Now, will you stay up here somewhere? Slide this down. There's more room down there. Stay. Stay. filthy. Dirty soldering. Oh well. Done. I think. Why not? Okay, so that's in there. I like to give them a quick tug test. They're good. So I'll put the bracket back in here, kind of lay this back out the way it's supposed to be. We'll be back when that's done. This is probably a really good time to recheck your work. So I'm actually using you guys as the screen. That should be on right now. Off. On, off. Perfect. Fixed-ish. Now the rest of it. All right, let's start putting this thing together. What do we got here? I got the little clip. Yeah. What else do I need? You guys are right in my way. How rude of you. All right, so these are the switch wires that we just ran. This is going to go this way. And then I need the clamshell top, which will also go this way. Like kind of laying this out first. Something like that. Then this goes into the groove over here. So as long as I pinch those wires somewhere in there like that with the clip, we should be all right. Something kind of like this. Ish. Get a couple threads going here. Give me a little bit of movement. That just basically keeps that off of the grip. Come on. Make sure that that closes proper and stays out of the way, which it does. Come on, you. Just like that. So that clip basically keeps this wire tucked behind the throttle. So we'll snug that down. Call it good. Just like that. Now, I need to tape all of these all the way down. I did not heat shrink that. I probably should have. But, a day late and $1 short. So let me grab some tape. Gary. Siberian Cycles. Thank you. Got a fresh roll for me right here. So we'll open this up, get the tape in. Garage is trashed. I gotta clean up in here too. And I'm gonna leave the bulgy spot farther out of the switch housing, so I'm gonna start at the switch and kind of work my way down. I think that should make a little more sense. Heat shrink would have been a good idea up here. Didn't think, I wonder if I can actually salvage some of the... I like the plastic rubber sheathing that comes on these. Especially going into this switch housing where it's gonna rub a little bit more. So we slotted it, but we can tape around that. We'll just double it up. I really don't know where the best spot to put you guys is. Something like that kind of work. Or you're out of my way. Being selfish here. I'm working on this, not you. I should have all the space. So I think we're going to do something kind of like this. That'll give me a little bit more protection there, and then we'll start taping here. Not really a good way of doing this. Alright, so that'll work going in and out of the switch housing. Got enough room here. This goes where it's supposed to, clears the throttle like it's supposed to. That'll get tucked over here. Should be good. Then we get to do the rest of the patchwork stuff in here, so we'll be back when I'm done with that. Alright, so I pulled the little circlip out of the brake, put the new one in here, and then we'll drop this guy back in. Trying to see, I thought the thing was broken on the other one, but I don't think it was, looking at it now. But I think the issue I was having was the alignment here. And we're not going to do the circlip stuff on the bottom yet, but pins back in, and the new lever does not turn that far. So I think I was wrong, it wasn't broken. But I think what happened is this section, the flat, is way too rounded out, where this thing was just pivoting and spinning around in there. But this is together, and I only have that much free play. So I don't know if it was too short or worn down or what, but this should be good to go now. So we got the lever housing roughly mounted back on the bars. Wires are run. So we'll put these back over here where they're kind of supposed to be. Pull this brake pin in, put the master on, and we should be good to go. Just double check, brake lights on, brake lights off. Still good. Time to button this turd up. So that'll go just like that. And all we need to do is get the clamp on. Somehow. Alright, let me futz around with this off camera. Okay, so it's kind of goofy right now, but I got this roughly laid out here where it's supposed to be. Ish. Brake pin is engaged. This is on. I still need a lower pinch bolt down here, and I need to hook the throttle back up, but we're just going for a rough one right now. Just trying to get everything close to laid out. But that is engaging on the brake pin, so that's good. Wires are tightening, or clamps are tightening. So that should end up landing somewhere right about there. Honestly, this new brake finger thing is pushing that way off on the housing. So as of right now, I have just a tail light, brake light, tail light, brake light, tail light, brake light. It is still working. We'll go through all that when we're done. And then this is laid out. I think I lost one of the screws for the control too. Gotta find that for the switch housing. But that is working. Wires are tucked back up against the bars. Everything on that looks good. I'm happy. So I'll hook this throttle back up before we go any further. Take this switch off, try and find another screw, and then we're done. I think. Lots of I thinks. So it should be good on that side. This can come apart. Didn't want to put everything together until I knew everything was actually functioning and working proper. So we need our throttle, we need our cable. Hopefully that barrel clamp is still on there, which it is. So that's good. Come on. Come on, barrel clamp. Such a pain doing this. I don't like this design one bit. You basically have all of your cable stuff and wires run between both switch and switch housing, which makes it really difficult. Why not just run them separate? Why do you need to run it through the bar? Like the wiring coming from the switch. It'd be so much easier if you just had the wiring coming outside of the switch somewhere. I guess it's a little cleaner when you run it through there, but not a fan. 2 out of 5 stars. Because now that I think about it, I gotta pull that master off. How much wiggle and slide do I have here? Stupid Harley. Guess we can do it this way too. Yep. Can you tell I'm getting frustrated? Dropping things. Doesn't like when I talk bad about her. So now I think that gave me enough slide. Switches are all turned around. Let's get this back in the car before I forget. And then have it come loose and lose the barrel clamp up top. Then what? I need the switch to go on, which is all in my way. There we go. Roughly, I don't really care about the brake section yet. I'll sneak this back up. I can adjust the cable routing and all that later, but I don't like it when it's just dangling there freely. Bolt, my one bolt, because I still didn't find the other one, and I forgot to make sure that that brake's engaged. There we go. Now it's on the pin again. There we go. Pin is engaged. Such a stupidly complicated design, even though it's not that complicated. Right, one switch is in. I still got to find the bolt for the front. We have the carb still open and close. Wide open, closed, good there. So I need one pinch bolt for the front corner here, and that should lock this up, and then we'll just tighten down the levers. This is fine and clean enough on the bars for me. Not looking for internal clean garbage. That's perfectly fine there. Cable's here. We'll figure out where that's going to land and go. And the final test. All right. What a pain in the ass. That's why I've been putting this off. So that will wrap this one up. And then, what is it, Saturday? So I got to go up to the shop here in a little bit. We're going to epoxy the floor on the trailer. And I was looking at some of the stuff on this. I know I got the one breather. Next up, I do need to actually loosen this manifold a little bit and adjust it to fit. I laid it in and tightened it down, but has some wiggle room. I need to make sure I get the carb lined up with the breathers up top. So it'll go like this, but with the choke plate on here, we are not lined up. So we gotta tweak that a little bit, make sure all that mounts up proper. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all those other fun things. Go check out some other channels too. Lots of good ones out there. Hippie's Chopper Corner. Loved his new video. Saw like first comment, somebody complained on that. Forget that guy. If you lose a subscriber, it doesn't matter. That was a very open and honest section of your life. I appreciate it. Love the stories you're always telling while you're working on stuff. Cannot appreciate that enough. It's real. It's not made up stuff. Keep the cameras rolling. It is what it is. Mess things up. You'll know. But that'll wrap this one up. We'll be back on this whenever I can get around to it. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.